Welcome to Physion Dynamics. Coach Dumitru. Today I want to take you guys through ankle mobility and ankle flexibility, and of course dealing with weak ankles. So picture this really quickly. You're in the gym doing a squat, doing a Bulgarian squat, maybe doing some lunges, everything like that. But when you're going down into the movement, into the exercise, all of a sudden at the bottom you feel your ankles are unsteady. Or during a squat, you feel that when you're going down, maybe your hip is hurting a little bit. You feel unbalanced. You feel that your back is just a little bit off, or you can't go that deep. You can't maintain form. All of this has to do with your ankle mobility. Moving out of the gym into day-to-day life, you walk down the street, all of a sudden when you go onto a grassy part of the street, boom, your ankle twists. You can't run too easily because your ankles are either hurting or you feel like you're going to tumble upon yourself. There are such easy ways to fix this one, but it all comes down to your ankle not being flexible enough, not being mobile enough, and being too weak. So in today's video, we are going to go over how to make your ankles stronger, more flexible, and more mobile. Before we dive into that, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also to visit physiondynamics.com, our website, where we have a lot of videos just like this one with lots of information, lots of exercises, and lots of gold, mind-enriching information that will take you from the normal everyday life to a gym guru. Check out physiondynamics.com rather, and see all of this brain-enhancing information right there on our website. So, without further ado, let's dive into those ankles. Now, when you look at the human body, the human anatomy, the physiology rather, I can't even speak today, the physiology of the human body, the ankle has such a huge load to take from your body, right? Everything, pretty much, your whole body, from the ankles up, everything is dependent on how good of a balance you have on your feet, how strong your feet are, but especially how well your ankles are able to maintain the connection between your foot, the ground, and then of course the rest of your body, right? So we do so many things in our lives. We walk, we jump, we run, all of these things that we do, but we don't sit back to think, hey, maybe my ankles need a little bit of love, maybe my ankles need a little bit of attention, etc., etc. So how do we do that? Well, number one, let's go with ankle weakness, okay? A lot of people have to deal with this one, and it's not their fault. Some people have genetic weaker ankles. Some people just don't pay attention to their ankles, and then over time, they strengthen the rest of their body, or maybe they don't even strengthen the rest of their body, but the ankle specifically, the muscle, the tendons around the ankles are just not being paid attention to. And that, in that case, that is their fault, okay? Genetics is not, but that is their fault. So how can we make our ankles stronger? You can't think two-dimensional when it comes to the ankles. A lot of people think, oh, well, if I do calf raises, I'm going to strengthen my ankles. Well, yes, it is an aspect of doing maybe some calf raises, whether it's just on the floor, lifting yourself up and down, or you go to a gym and you have the calf raise machine, you have some weight on your shoulders or maybe some dumbbells in your hand, and you go up and down. That's great. That strengthens one part of the ankle. But now you're going to start building imbalances in your ankle if you don't hit it from all the different sides. So this is why strengthening comes hand in hand with mobility and flexibility, just like it does for the entire rest of your body. You can't really have one without the other two. If you don't have good mobility, then it doesn't matter how much flexibility you have, doesn't matter how much strength you have, you're still going to be lacking that range of motion, that the ability to move in all the different directions that the joint is actually designed to do. Now, while the ankle is not as complex and as mobile as your shoulder, for example, is, or your hip is, it still needs to have that plantar flexion and dorsiflexion and plantar flexion ability to be able to flex and bend accordingly based on the movement that you do. So having said all that, strength is very important. If you want to learn how to do the calf raises properly, check out the link popping up right above me over here. It'll take you to my video that I've done a little while back on how to do calf raises just straight up off the floor. You don't need any fancy equipment, and if you don't have any dumbbells handy, then you can just get something around the house that has a little bit of weight to it, or just do them free body, free of weight. After you do 15 to 20 repetitions, you'll start feeling it in your calf. Now, let's move into more more of a mobility and more of a flexibility talk, because this encompasses a wider range of population, and especially because most of the time I deal with seniors and elderly people who have the most problems when it comes to mobility and flexibility, and of course ankle weaknesses. This is what I usually start with to make sure that mobility is good, they have good flexibility, and then we work in the strength portion of it as well. So the very first video that's popping up right now is a stretch, the most generic calf stretch possible. Now notice that it's very important because we want to hit the muscle in the back of the lower leg from every point of view. So you will see the straight knee one, but now we moved into the bent knee version. So what the difference is between the two of these is that when you have your knee straight, your knee locked out, you're stretching out the portion of the calf that is called the gastrocnemius, the visible part. So when you look at somebody's leg, you see the gastrocnemius. Underneath is the soleus. You don't really see that with the naked eye. Well, you kind of can, but you have to look from the side of the leg, so it's a little bit different. But you can't easily see it. So this is why when the knee is bent, you hit that soleus muscle much, much better and much more in depth. So these are two of the stretches that you do for the back of the leg. Now, what about the front of the leg, of the lower leg to be exact? So in this video, as you can see, I'm sitting down and I'm pulling onto my ankle to really hit that tibialis. It's a very difficult muscle to hit. And by the way, these are good stretches when it comes to shin splints as well. So you really get that muscle moving and being stretched out, nice, loose and limber. So you notice, I pay close attention actually to the way that I am pulling the foot in. Right? It's not just, oh, I'm pulling the foot down in a straight manner. No, the tibialis is not right over the tibia. So if you feel the front of your shin, the front of your lower leg, you will see that I'm touching bone, but then I'm touching muscle kind of right next to it as well. So it's a very weird position that just by pulling the toe forward, it doesn't mean that you're hitting the muscle fully. You're just hitting partial, if anything, of the muscle, depending on your current level of mobility and flexibility. So this is why twisting the ankle a little bit more inwards, now you're really getting deep into the muscle and you're stretching that whole tibialis muscle to get the looseness in all the muscle fiber. So be careful of that. It's a little detail that most people overlook, and then they're wondering, oh, I'm not really getting a good stretch of my tibialis. Well, this is why. You're not putting the right angle in the ankle itself to be able to target that muscle from a stretch point of view. Now that's fine and dandy. That's great. The muscles have been loosened. The more main muscles, I should say, right? There's a lot of different stretches that if you go to a foot specialist or even a professional massage parlor, they will stretch the feet, because there's a lot of muscle in your feet. I'm not even going to that in this video because we're going to be here for 5 hours. There's so many muscles in your feet themselves and muscles that go around your calcaneus up into the ankle, tendons, ligaments, all of these different things that to stretch them is going to take you a long time. These two stretches, or three I should say, are good enough for the time being, and they'll give you good enough stretch and flexibility and mobility within all those ligaments and tendons within the ankle itself. Now, moving into a little bit of a mobility. There's a couple of mobility things that you can do. The most important ones, and before I dive into the final one, the little trick that a couple of physiotherapists use as well, and I've learned this over the past few years, the basic ones that everybody knows about it, anybody can do, is dorsi and plantar flexion. So dorsiflexion when you lift the toes up, plantar flexion is when you push the toes down. So essentially your ankle will go up and down, as you can see in this video right over here. So it's going up and down. You can do ankle rotations as well. So do remember that is technically, if we're going to a little bit of a tangent here, technically speaking, the ankle doesn't really rotate in a true sense of word, right? You pretty much do, you flex it, you adduct it, and then you depress it, or you stretch it. So there's more of a upside and down, side, up, side, and so on and so forth. So you don't actually rotate it like you do your shoulder. Okay, but these ankle rotation, point your toe and then get as big of a circle as possible with your ankle. This one gets a lot of mobility. Now, lastly, you can do by just keeping the foot on the floor like you see in these videos. Keep the ankle flat, lift that toe up as high as possible, flex the muscles, get the ligaments engaged, pull as high as possible, and then drop it back down and let it rest. So you do that hold up there for a couple of seconds, or you can pump it and pulse it a few times, move it up and down like you're following a beat. That also helps as well. But what you can do progressively is get it to hold those toes up and flex for about 5 seconds, then let it rest. 3 seconds rest, up 5 seconds, 3 seconds rest, back and forth. The same you can do for the back of the foot, but I highly recommend, like in this video over here, to put the foot to be elevated on something so that when you go with the backside with the heel, you actually allow the foot to go nice and down, so you almost dive into that stretch, right, that I've showed you earlier. But because the heel is not really touching the floor, you're not going to properly get the deep stretch that we are looking for. So you have to be careful from that point of view, because this is a mobility exercise, not a stretching necessarily exercise, although you will feel some of the stretches while you're doing this exercise. So again, you can pump the ankle down, so bring it down till you feel a stretch and up. Key note over here, don't go really deep into the stretch that the ankle touches the floor and then come up. It's never a good idea to pump a stretch. Stretches just need to be held in position, so once you get the deep stretch, you hold it there 30 to 60 seconds. When you pump it like this, that's way too much strain on the muscle. Now couple that with, if you're unfortunate to get a cold stretch because you haven't warmed up before like you should be, now you're really putting tension on those ligaments and you risk having some damage in there. So be careful with that. This pump, however, is okay to do even if the leg is not necessarily warmed up, because you're not going so deep. So you're not putting that much strain on the ligaments and the connective tissue. Okay? So again, with this one, you can go down and hold it there for about 5 seconds and then come on back up to normal. Hold that in there for 5 seconds. And the difference here is that you hold down for 5, you hold up for 5. So there's no real necessarily resting point, because you can see my ankle over there is hanging off of the dumbbell. Okay, so it's not really resting after I'm going deep into the mobility movement. So these are some of the exercises. But here's something really cool that you can do, even if you're, let's say you're at work and you're typing away at the computer, or you're watching a movie or whatnot. Everybody knows the alphabet. Whatever language you speak, you have an alphabet in your language. So take your toe, extend your leg out, just like I do in this video over here, and start writing the alphabet. Now, I know my ABCs, so I go A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on and so forth, right? But you can see how my ankle moves, and I try to design and draw in air with my toes each and every letter. Now, I do a poor job over there. My ankle mobility is not 100%, so I'll admit to that. I'm really learning my alphabet nowadays because I'm working on that ankle mobility. But you can see that doing this kind of a movement with your foot, it gets you to move it in every possible way, shape, and form. So you get this alphabet going from A to Z, and each and every letter, but put emphasis on it, right? Don't just do boom, a B. Like, don't do small letters. Make the letters as big as possible. Your intention is to make the ankle move in every direction to its limit, right? And the more progress you do on this, the more you do this alphabet, the more you write it with your toes, the more range of motion you're gonna get, the more mobility you're gonna get, the bigger those letters can be written in air. So try this out, guys. It's something that sometimes for some of my clients, depending on their mobility, and if they're not too busy throughout the day, I recommend to do it twice a day, right? Get that alphabet running, get the stretch in, get a little bit of a strengthening into the ankle as well, and so on and so forth. So twice a day, if not once a day, but try to make this as regular as maybe your workouts, because if you are dedicated and into workouts, going every single day to the gym, I have to get my workout in today, this can be added to the end, another 15 to 20 minutes maybe at the end of your workout to do these mobility exercises for your ankles. And of course, in later videos, I'll show you how to do mobility for other parts of the body, like different joints in the body, etc., etc. But it is just as important as working out to get these mobility stretches, etc. So try these out, guys. As I mentioned, with weak ankles especially, I've dealt multiple times in the past, even with younger clients who feel that when they're doing squats, when they're doing Bulgarian squats, so things like, being on one foot, the other foot is somewhere suspended, and they're trying to do the actual movement of up and down, they feel almost like they're gonna collapse. The ankle is just not strong enough to be able to sustain that kind of move, especially if you add external weight. So by adding very basic things like the calf raises, the stretches, the mobility that I've shown you, strengthens the joint and strengthens the ligament around that joint very, very much. Again, it will take a little bit of a time. It's not going to happen overnight, but the more you work on it, the more you're going to see the rewards of the ankle strengthening and strengthening and strengthening. And if you look at it this way, if the ankle is like this, right, connecting into the two joints, all the ligaments on the side, the more you move them, the stronger they get, right? So don't go crazy into huge jogging or making some explosive, like the basketball suicides, anything like that, that put a lot of pressure on the ankle. Take it step by step and build this process up to get your ankles nice and strong. So let me know, guys, if you've tried these ones, if you have these ones before, or if you have some other ideas that you guys have used in the past. Again, I haven't covered everything over here because there's ways you can do the stretching and strengthening with the tensor bands. It's always great if somebody does the movements for you when it comes to mobility, and you have a therapist actually moving the joint in every direction, so they feel you are relaxed now. You don't have to worry about how much you're going and straining the muscles to do the work, so they can go and move the ankle in every way. So there's so many different ways to do it, but these are some simple exercises that you can do literally while you're living your life. You're at work, maybe you're typing away at your desk, you can do this motion with your ankles. You're watching TV, you're having dinner, etc., etc. You can add these ones in. So let me know, guys, in the comments if you tried them, if it works for you, if they're helping you out. If you find that any of them are painful, do be careful. If you have any kind of injuries in your ankles, or maybe you have an old injury that you have a lot of scar tissues, these may end up causing some issues in the ankle, so do be very careful. Of course, if you had a broken ankle in the past, or if you have a plate or anything like that in your foot or things like that, do make sure that you run this by your physiotherapist or your doctor or whomever you're dealing with to make sure that it's good and it's right for you to do this kind of a motion. Or if you have any kind of high restrictions in your ankle, that your ankle just doesn't move left, right, up, down, whichever, now it's a good idea to really get a professional to look at it, because we could be dealing with more things in there, and simple exercises like these could cause more damage. So each individual case is different, but if your ankle is healthy, just lacking the mobility, lacking the flexibility, lacking the strength, these exercises will be great to get you started and put you on the right path. Let me know, guys, as always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to visit PhysionDynamics.com, especially now with the Christmas holidays coming around. Every single day there's a gift for everybody over there. So all you need to do is visit our website daily. There's this nice little pink box somewhere hidden in plain sight on the website. You click on that box and you get the gift for that day. Santa's working on it. We're working on it. We're trying to bring you guys the best in health and fitness going into 2024. So check out PhysionDynamics.com for your daily gift, for a lot of enrichment when it comes to fitness, nutrition, etc. And you're gonna have tons and tons and tons of fun with it. My name is Coach Dumitru, Physion Dynamics. Stay fit, stay healthy, guys. We'll catch you on the next video.